What if I told you the next 25 years could be marked by some of the most catastrophic wars the world has ever seen? From a Second Korean War to the threat of a civil war in the U.S., conflicts that could reshape entire continents, devastate populations, and change the global order as we know it. Wars that you never thought possible might be lurking just around the corner. So stay with us as we reveal 8 potential conflicts that could ignite within the next few decades. You won't believe how close we might be to some of these wars actually happening. One of the most dangerous and likely conflicts on the horizon is the possibility of a Second Korean War. The Korean Peninsula has remained tense ever since the original Korean War ended in a ceasefire, not a peace treaty, meaning technically the war never ended. North Korea's unpredictable behavior, nuclear ambitions, and military posturing have kept the South constantly on edge. While both sides remain heavily militarized, the collapse of North Korea's government or an attack on South Korea could trigger a full-blown conflict. Such a war would be devastating, and the involvement of global powers like the United States and China would only escalate it further. This is a ticking time bomb that could explode at any moment. Then at number 2, the ongoing tension between China and Taiwan presents another serious threat to global peace. Taiwan, which China considers a breakaway province, has been a sore spot for decades. China has made it clear that it intends to reunite Taiwan with the mainland, even if it means using force. Any invasion of Taiwan could lead to a broader conflict, potentially even World War III, as the United States has a vested interest in defending Taiwan. The outcome of such a war could be catastrophic for both sides, but many analysts believe that China, despite its military strength, would struggle to fully conquer Taiwan. Nevertheless, the potential for this conflict remains very real and extremely dangerous. At the same time, at number 3, China might be facing a threat from within its own borders. With its demographic crisis, growing youth unemployment, and increasing economic pressures, the risk of a Chinese civil war is not far-fetched. A significant economic collapse could trigger internal strife, with different regions and factions vying for power. If such a civil war were to occur, it could become one of the bloodiest conflicts in modern history, destabilizing not just China, but the entire region. Given China's size and military power, the effects of such a war would be felt across the world. Speaking of internal strife, at number 4, we have that Russia, too, is at risk of descending into chaos. The war in Ukraine has put immense pressure on the Russian government and military, and if Russia were to fail in its campaign, or if Vladimir Putin were to die, a Russian civil war could break out. The country could fragment, with warlords or regional leaders taking control of different parts of Russia. This power struggle could lead to a prolonged and brutal conflict, with the potential for outside intervention or exploitation by neighboring countries. The collapse of Russia could also destabilize Europe and Asia, leading to even broader conflicts. One region that could become a flashpoint for war in the event of Russia's collapse is the Caucasus. With Russia weakened, countries like Turkey and other Muslim actors could seek to expand their influence in the region, which is rich in natural resources and strategically important. This could lead to a full-scale Caucasian war, with various ethnic and religious groups fighting for control. The instability could spill over into neighboring countries, creating a broader regional conflict with unpredictable consequences. While we're talking about expansionist wars, at number 5, we know that Afghanistan is another country that could potentially ignite new conflicts in the region. Afghanistan has a long history of warfare, and its people are known for their warrior traditions. With its recent military experience, Afghanistan could look to expand its territory by exploiting the weaknesses of its neighboring countries, particularly if those neighbors are struggling with internal instability. While this might seem unlikely now, the volatility of the region makes it a possibility worth considering. If you are enjoying this video, take a moment to it, subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay notified of all our updates. Moving west, at number 6. Tensions between the United States and Iran have been simmering for decades, and a full-blown U.S. Iran war is not out of the question. The situation is complicated by Iran's involvement in regional conflicts, its nuclear ambitions, and its antagonistic relationship with Israel. If tensions were to escalate further, perhaps due to a confrontation in the Persian Gulf or a missile strike, the two nations could find themselves at war. Such a conflict would be disastrous for both sides. And the author of the analysis believes that while the U.S. might have the upper hand militarily, the war would cause significant harm to American interests in the region and potentially trigger wider conflict in the Middle East. However, at number 7, the most surprising possibility is the threat of a U.S. civil war. It might sound far-fetched, but the United States is more polarized than ever before. Deep political, social, and economic divisions have created a powder keg of tension. If things continue their current path, it's not impossible that these divisions could lead to open conflict. The analysis suggests that if such a civil war were to break out, the right-wing factions, which control most of the country's resources and military strength, would likely emerge victorious. While it's a horrifying prospect, the sheer level of division in the US today makes this scenario disturbingly plausible. Finally, at number 8, Europe is facing its own set of challenges. Much like the US, Europe is grappling with political polarization, economic instability, and an aging population. But unlike the US, Europe lacks significant military strength, making it more vulnerable to internal unrest. The analysis compares Europe's future instability to the coups seen in Latin America or the infighting among ancient Greek city-states. While a full-blown war might not be in Europe's immediate future, the region could see a period of prolonged instability, with coups, uprisings, and government collapses becoming increasingly common. The next 25 years could be marked by an unprecedented level of conflict and chaos across the globe. From potential civil wars in Russia and China to the ever-present threat of a second Korean War or a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, the future is uncertain and potentially deadly. While these wars are not guaranteed, the conditions for them are present, and the consequences would be felt worldwide. Which of these potential conflicts do you think is most likely to happen first? Let us know in the comments below. And before you leave, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to The Speedy Secret, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with more content like this. Thank you for watching, and remember, staying informed is the best way to prepare for whatever the future holds.